Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Report. I am Yomi Otaigbe. The fire outbreak in Dosunmu Market on Lagos Island will be our main feature on this week's edition of the program, with details of eyewitnesses' account of the incident, perceived as one of the worst and most destructive fire outbreak in recent times in Lagos State. Still battling with the effect of a recent windstorm, apprehensive residents of Aloshi community in Nasarawa State plead for help as the rains intensifies. These and more in a moment. Although no life was lost, at least 14 buildings were affected as a result of the fire that gutted a section of Dosunmu Market in the central business district of Lagos. We followed up on an eyewitness video to put together a detailed report of the incident.
Disturbing eyewitness videos account a scene of uproar and chaos when a high building in Dosunmu Market goes aflame. A crowd surges to the scene amid efforts by first responders to contain the inferno.
My boys called me that something is happening in Dosunmu. So I asked them what is it. They said this fire is burning everywhere. Before I rushed down to this place, all my shop has finished. And even of my warehouse here also has finished. Nothing come out from there. Even as I'm talking to you, is one of my warehouse here now they're bringing goods down. So I don't want the same, because they wanted to put this one that I was begging them, let me pull my house, take all my goods from here before they pull it down. It really affects me.
For several hours, firefighters and other emergency responders tried to put out the fire completely. While some watch, traders affected endeavor to salvage their wares as the inferno spreads rapidly to other buildings, shops, warehouses packed with goods.
Early in the morning on Tuesday, we were just open our shop, selling our markets, just see fire burn almost 25 buildings have burned for Dosunmu and the Jumago side. We please our federal government, both federal government and our state government to help us. We have lost a lot of markets here, both different tolerant material inside the key club, the shop, the different building. Both people have just put their 40 feet container here. We lost plenty of markets here. We plead to federal government and state government to help us.
I don't have husband. I don't have anybody except my business. I don't have nothing again. I don't have anything.
Early assessment by heads of emergency management agencies reveal possible cause of the fire.
So that's the way to demolish house.
The information we gathered at the time we arrived at the scene of emergency was that there is a particular three-story building with a penthouse. On the penthouse building, there was a printing press company who was trying to fuel generator that was at work. While he was trying to fuel the generator that was at work, that ignited to fire, and the fire started spreading. So we learned that there were a keg of fuel surrounded in that premise also. So he was trying to throw them down one after the other. So as he was throwing the keg down, that ignited and started spread to all the adjacent buildings. The fire has already affected 14 buildings now, both severe and partial effect. 14 as at what I wanted, but the fire is under control now. No casualty for now. No casualty recorded. No injury.
And we can see that some buildings are coming down as well.
They are coming down, exactly.
Yes. Well, presently the fire is totally under control. You know, the fire service is the lead agency here, and they have taken total control. Initially, we were having one challenge or the other, but all those challenges have been tackled. You know, the agency, that's NEMA, supposed to support the lead agency to be able to overcome any challenges they are facing. And one of the major challenge was water. And we were able to secure replenishment center from National Port Authority MP, not far away from here. And that's why the fire is totally under control. As at now, we have more than 14 buildings that have been impacted. 4 of it have gone down. So there could be more than 14, but after during post-disaster management, we are going to do it. We know the number of shops, number of traders, and other statistics that are necessary. We have been bringing it to them. They need safety measures, insurance coverage, and fire marshals in strategic positions. Like the fire started there around 10, and that fire ought to have been managed by them, not going out of hand. Though we had a meeting with them, the Lagos West, or Iyaloja General of Lagos West, we had a meeting with them in order to find a way of PPP, private-public partnership, so that some of the challenges we have identified, we will be able to solve it collectively. And secondly, we will train them as fire marshals in strategic areas. We have spoken with them. It's just one lab that is remaining for us to get to the.
You can see that we are combining our efforts for the fire not to spread. And what we did clearly is that we are being holistic in what we are doing. And we now move all these buildings to the next level. And we are pulling them down to zero ground to ensure, 1, there is no spread of the fire. 2, there is no skipping of the fire from one building to another. And we confine the fire to a certain locality. And all the first responders are on the ground, ensuring safety of life and property.
Emergency response continues the following day with damping of the site and the demolition of what is left of the affected buildings.
The emergency respondents are doing a kind of damping down, and they'll see in doing it, there is a kind of a bucket of fire that are still coming up, where the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Services are equally working on, and that after the damping down, there will be clearance or evacuations of all these debris, so that it can give a better outlook to what has happened. You see, for emergency fighting in Lagos, a lot of investment are going into it. And it's disheartening that even at that, in spite of all our enlightenment, advocacy, precaution procedure that we always been taking, that you are aware, Safety Commission on several occasions after all these incidents will all have come, the fire services will all have come, move street by street, doing all sorts of advocacy to ensure that we don't have this incident reoccurring again. But all the same, we'll still have this situation. So we have come to a point that all the stakeholders have to sit, and then going forward, a drastic position have to be taken.
Don't run so many advocacy, concerning the issue of generator. And we are still on it. We are not relenting. We will make sure every generator that is put on the first floor of the building must come down. We've been saying that several times. And we will seek for the backing of the Lagos State House of Assembly on this. But we are going to carry it out. In every houses where generator is erected on the first floor, it must come down.
2 days after, the site remains an active disaster zone, with first responders battling isolated fire in some of the affected buildings. Pockets of fire still noticeable as the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in company of top government officials, visits to assess the situation and extent of damage.
This is a complete disaster. It's extremely very unfortunate. As the last count, we have about 14 houses in one form or the other that has been affected. A bit more might still go down after the extensive, fit-for-purpose tests that will be conducted over the next couple of days here. What I have seen here is what could have been prevented. We don't have the full report yet, so I don't want to speculate. But initial report that came to us was just gross carelessness and people not understanding what it means when we say keep your environment safe. We will conduct a proper, extensive audit as to what led to this. But as you can see from the initial assessment, we have had an activation of an advocacy that indeed from the month of December all throughout in the month of May, these are high combustible weather that we've known will come year on year. And if you check your print media, if you check social media, we've been advertising, I'll be saying to people that during harsh Harmattan, the weather is not only hard, you need to stay away from inflammable materials, you need to stay away from consumptive, combustive materials that can activate easy spread of fire. And that's the kind of thing that we've seen here also today. And we've also noticed that a lot of the residential apartments that government would think were residential apartments were actually warehouses. Warehouses that are houses that have been converted into warehouses in people's sitting room and in people's rooms. That from outside you think they are dwelling places, but they've been warehouses and materials that were easily inflammable, extremely very inflammable. These are some of the initial conduct of what we have seen. I want to say without any iota of doubt that some other buildings are still going to go down. This is totally unacceptable. We will not allow a few people who will not comply with our rules, with our laws, to put the lives of others in danger. Fiscal planning authorities, LAPCA are going to be having a difficult time with me. And when they have a difficult time with me, you will know they will come on the street. This is fire that is happening too often, too many, and it is totally unacceptable.
The Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, also visits the disaster scene to show solidarity with the state government and to encourage first responders who have been on ground for days.
Now, just a couple of weeks ago, NEMA was actually here in Lagos through the zonal office to meet with about 20 market associations on this issue of prevention. And from what I see, the DG Lasema is also right here. They're putting a lot of things in place, and we've agreed that we're going all out to sensitize over and over again on the need for people to know how to demarcate buildings and also separate explosives from these type of buildings. And the general public needs to assist as well. When things like this happen, rather than staying back and recording, we should be able to assist. We should be able to make room for the fire services to have access to these buildings. What I see here, I'm quite impressed with what the fire services have done in Lagos State, because what they were able to do was to pull down some of the buildings around so that the fire does not spread all the way, and they were able to contain it right behind where we're seeing the wreckage.
At the time of this report, the clearing of the area had since commenced. Fire incidents are a regular occurrence in the markets in Lagos Island. The fire outbreak at Dosunmu market occurred 24 hours after a similar incident involving a 3-story building with 20 built-up shops at a neighboring Balogun market. In January, a warehouse in Mandila's building on Broad Street was also gutted by fire, destroying goods worth millions of naira.
Welcome back. The fear of another windstorm appears to be unsettling residents of a community in Nasarawa State. While they are still counting their losses from a recent one, they intensify their appeal for help from relevant authorities as they witness increased rainfall.
Wednesday morning, April 3rd, residents of several communities in Nasarawa State woke up to a devastation following destruction by a windstorm. Aloshi community in Kaina local government area is one of the worst hit. Images of the wreckage speak volumes of the impact, even though the rain and windstorm lasted for less than an hour. A large part of the community is badly impacted.
The cloud was somehow brownish around the Lafia-Ikana axis while coming to Aloshi. Few minutes we began to experience wind blow, which started gradually, and as times continue within the first 5-10 minutes, the wind intensified, and before we could realize, in fact, we started seeing zings and trees were being uprooted, roofs were being taken off by the wind.
Trees are uprooted, roofs blown off, houses, schools and other public infrastructure reduced to rubble, rendering many homeless. Five people were injured here. Mrs. Kasua Eliagu sustained injuries after a building collapsed on her. She was discharged to continue her treatment from home.
Yesterday evening it was cloudy, so I called the children to enter the house. Then the wind affected our house and it collapsed on me. I couldn't move. I felt like I was dead. I was taken to the hospital.
The people of Aloshi are, however, not deterred from their businesses. They hold their regular market on the same day. Some have begun rebuilding their homes while hoping for some relief. A series of squalls also passed over communities in Awe, Doma and Kefi local government areas, wreaking havoc. One person reportedly died in Doma local government area and 10 others were injured in Kefi and Awe. The Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State visits Aloshi community to see the extent of damage.
I've already asked the chairman of the local government and also the Honorable Commissioner in charge of humanitarian services to do a proper assessment and an inventory so that we can know how many households were really involved. And I'm aware that quite a number of people are now homeless because they have no roofs over their heads. And we're going to take immediate steps as a responsible and a responsive government to see how much succor can bring to the people immediately. And also those who have been displaced, we also try and see if we can get some foodstuffs to them so that at least they can eat and have some little shelter somewhere while we see how we can assist those households to provide their structures so that they can move into their houses as soon as possible.
Keeping to its word, the Nasarawa State government returns to Aloshi community 2 days later with food and other relief items for victims.
So rice then, 25 in the morning. So right now we have rice that will be taken there. We have pasta, we have some vegetables, oil, we have salt, we have no Maggi, and I've sent a truck of water already, and that is, I believe, is supposed to be there by now, because we realize that they don't have any drinking water. Even water for them to use to do their daily activities is not accessible. So I've sent water as I speak now. So the rest of the affected area, because of the less number that happened there, I've spoke with the chairman of our local government. He is managing that to send us the assessment, whereby we will go there also to do the needful. But now our main concern is with people in Aloshi development area because of the magnitude of the property that is being affected by that, which makes the place like a whole lot of people are displaced. So that we want to make sure that at least we start with them, and then from there we proceed to the other communities.
Like I said,
Financial support also comes from the senator representing Nasarawa West, who visits Aloshi and Keina local government areas. He commiserates with the people and donates 7 million naira to be distributed by the traditional council.
We are there for the people, and we will continue to do the best we can. And as a matter of responsibility is why I am here, to commiserate and sympathize with the people of Kiana and Aloshi under Kiana local government that God has tried by visiting them with what he has visited them with. My support, financial support to the people of Kiana is going to the emirate. It's not a political committee. The emirate is a responsible emirate. The emirate is very much aware of the fact that the emirate owes the people or its subjects a responsibility. So I'm sure the 3 million given to Kiana emirate will be shared accordingly. And then the same thing applies to Aloshi. Aloshi is not as big as Kiana, but it is much more affected than Kiana. And so the 4 million given to Aloshi, I am very sure, will be judiciously shared to the affected people, because who takes care of its subjects? I mean, much more than the emirate. And that's why in the two places, all the support we have pledged and given were given to the palaces. So I don't think there will be any palace that will want to shortchange its subjects.
A rough estimate suggests that thousands of individuals have been rendered homeless and property worth millions of naira destroyed by this natural disaster across communities in 4 local government areas in the North Central District of Nasarawa State.
On Eyewitness Report, viewers are offered the opportunity to be part of the show by contributing to the stories that we feature. Simply capture pictures or video of development-related activities around you and send them to the Eyewitness platform via the Channels TV app with a brief description of how they impact your community. We'll then contact you through your personal information to launch out and develop your story. Channels TV app can be downloaded from online stores. It's time to take a look at the pictures and videos you've sent in for the week.
We begin this segment with an eyewitness video of a lone accident involving an 18-seater commercial bus on the 3rd Mainland Bridge inward Lagos Island. According to the eyewitness, the bus, which was on a very high speed, somersaulted after one of its tires burst. One of the passengers was reportedly flung into the lagoon in the process. The body of the passenger was later recovered by the Marine Police and have been deposited in the mortuary. The next set of eyewitness videos capture another accident scene around the Alakpere junction of the Apapa Oshodi Omoroshoki Expressway. A fully loaded 40-feet container fell on a Nissan car and instantly killed a woman at the rear of the car, while the driver escaped unhurt. An official of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority confirmed that the driver of the articulated truck and his motorboy ran away immediately the accident occurred. Preliminary investigations revealed that the driver of the articulated truck was on a high speed when he lost control as a result of brake failure and rammed into the car.
Thanks for your contributions. That's it on this edition of the program. I'll see you again same time next week. I'm Yomi Otaigbe.